In the fall of 2019, a Reddit user named DeadUser00 posted about a bizarre short film that he saw when he was a kid. His post would spark one of the most peculiar lost media searches of all time, and it would even uncover other mysterious pieces of lost media along the way. This is a story of the search for the lost Nickelodeon short film, The Butcher. This is what DeadUser said in his initial post.
I used to live in South America. Back in the day, around the year 2001 to 2004, Nickelodeon had non-original short films. I can't remember if it was on air between shows as a filler, or if it was shown through the entire night. One short film caught my attention for being way darker than the other things on Nickelodeon. The opening scene is the title of the movie in white and black background. I believe it was called The Butcher. The film is in black and white, and there is a hand with a butcher's knife, butchering animals made out of real bones. I believe all animals are small ones, like a bird, rabbit, dog, etc. They looked like this. The video had no dialogue, only music and special effects. In the end, the skeleton animals rebel against the butcher. I'm not sure if only the hand of the butcher is shown, but I believe so. I also believe that this hand is a real human hand. Can't confirm it though. I also remember seeing bones inside glasses. I believe the animal bones fused together at some point, making an abomination.
This post was vastly different than what users are used to on r/tip of my tongue. Instead of something lighthearted, this left a feeling of uneasiness for all who read the post. DeadUser provided a solid foundation of information for the community, and needless to say, he caught the attention and curiosity of users on this subreddit. In the next segment of DeadUser's post, he showcased a variety of lesser-known videos submitted by various users, each hoping theirs resembled the elusive Butcher short film. Notably, a video called Otokoro by Aurelio Voltaire struck a chord with DeadUser, eerily mirroring what he saw back then. Again, DeadUser explained that the video was similar to what he was looking for, so much so that he described it as a near copy of what he saw. But this one was made in 2011, so it was impossible for it to have aired in South America in the early 2000s. And still, it wasn't exactly what he remembered. So there was absolutely no way this film could be it. In hopes that this video discovery could be helpful in some way, DeadUser looked up the creator of this film and even looked into his early projects. But unfortunately, DeadUser couldn't find anything that resembled what he saw back then. At this point, Reddit users were skeptical if this video even existed. It's highly possible that DeadUser could be making all of this up, and it wouldn't be out of the ordinary, because we've seen it happen before. For example, the Squidward transforming scene in SpongeBob, the Kurt Cobain Ren and Stimpy song, or even possibly Saki Sanabashi, which was a dark web lost media that I actually made a video on in the past. Go watch it after this one. But seriously, the point is, it's not hard to just make up a lost media and send others on a wild goose chase to find it. Although, on the flip side, some of the greatest lost media stories of all time have occurred when many of the users thought it was fake, but it was miraculously found, like the notorious Clockman short film. Because of this, many of the users in the comments would remain hopeful that DeadUser was actually telling the truth, and personally, I think he was. After interested users had some time to research, DeadUser decided it was time to update his post, responding to some of the most prominent comments from Redditors who thought they might have found the film.
Edit. This video is not a part of Nicktoons Film Festival. It's not Wienerville featuring Booney. It's not Alice. It's not Lupo the Butcher.
And that's where DeadUser's post ends, at least for now. Within a few days, the post comments would die down, and the search for the Butcher would fade into the shadows until it was almost forgotten. But then, something would captivate more users than ever before, awakening a hunger within the community to find this lost film. For the first time ever, Dead User would be on the brink of something special. After Dead User's initial Reddit post, there was a profound silence for about 9 months. Until a remarkable breakthrough occurred. A popular YouTuber named Blame It On George included this piece of lost media in one of his video series. He described what happened in Dead User's post, and also included some extra information that he found. Blame It On George's video would get millions of views, which harnessed a lot of interest around this lost media. On top of that, even though his video showcased many different pieces of lost media, his thumbnail and title would highlight the butcher. Because of this, Dead User would open up another Reddit thread. He explained, since Blame It On George's video release, he'd be getting a lot of replies to his post, and tons of people were privately reaching out to him to help him find this lost media. In the flood of messages that Dead User got, he believes that one user might have actually found the film, but he didn't want to confirm anything just yet. More on that later. The film is called Butcher's Hook, and it was directed by an English filmmaker, Simon Pummel. It was found by a user named Cappy Weird, also known as Vivian, so I added them on Discord to see exactly how they found this lost media. According to them, they watched Blame It On George's video and searched the Internet Archive for the keyword butcher. An old Vimeo video popped up from 10 years ago, which matched the description of Dead User's recollection. They then uploaded it to YouTube and sent it to Dead User. The video is relatively long, so I'll only play a portion of it. Although Butcher's Hook is believed to be the film Dead User recalls from his childhood, he hasn't fully confirmed it yet. Dead User's primary reservation is verifying its broadcast in South America during that era. Once that detail is revealed, we can confidently say we've found it. I was able to find Dead User's Instagram account, which was linked to his Reddit, so I reached out to him to see if all the information I'd gathered was entirely accurate, and if he had any additional details to share. This is what Dead User said.
Yeah, this is the video. Locomotion was a creative channel for adults. They aired a lot of short movies, so probably I was watching Locomotion. This is the first big hint. At some point, the son of the Butcher's Hook director contacted me, and he showed me some pictures of the puppets used. I'm 95% sure this is the video I was looking for. The plot is exactly what I had in mind. The only thing I couldn't confirm is if Butcher's Hook was aired on Locomotion. The director's son talked to his dad about it, and he said he couldn't confirm, because this kind of movie is sold in bundles, and the director has no control over it. Locomotion is a dead channel. I could not contact any person who knew more about it. I stopped searching because I couldn't find any info about Locomotion. Bear in mind, this was aired in Brazil.
This meant that Dead User could have seen this short film on a channel called Locomotion instead of Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network. But that raises the question, what exactly was Locomotion? Locomotion was a Latin American TV channel known for adult animations like South Park and Cowboy Bebop. Additionally, they featured a segment called Locotomia, showcasing unique and experimental films from around the globe. Locotomia is creepy, just by looking at some of the films that were showcased on there. It wouldn't be surprising at all if Butcher's Hook was played on that channel a few times. Because of this, it's highly likely that if Dead User had seen the film, it would have been on Locomotion's Locotomia instead of Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network. So that's where we stand. Locomotion, a dead TV channel, is probably the one thing that is separating this lost media from being fully solved. And so, there is only one thing left to do. To figure out if Butcher's Hook was aired in South America in the early 2000s. Let's see what we can find. Finding information on Locomotion isn't an easy task. The channel went defunct back in 2005, and it's nearly impossible to find any solid company information on Google. Since it went out of business, Locomotion was replaced by around 3 other cable channels, many of which are now defunct as well. To make things even more difficult, most information on Locomotion is in Spanish or Portuguese, and unfortunately, I don't know how to speak either of those languages at all. After a bit of searching, it's clear that Locomotion TV had a website back when it was operational. But there is one problem. The Locomotion website domain was now owned by some random car company. So this calls for one thing, the Wayback Machine. On the Wayback Machine, we can go back in time to find Locomotion's old website from 2005. The site is extremely interesting. It still has a good amount of information saved, which sometimes isn't the case with archived sites. On the programming page, they have their broadcast schedules from that time period. Specifically, Locotomia used to happen relatively often each week, and when clicking on it, we get brought to a forum page where users can discuss what they saw on television that night. After scanning through many different Locotomia forum posts from various time periods, there was no trace of Butcher's Hook, or even any keywords that would have anything to do with it. Although many of the forum posts were lost in the past, on the Wayback Machine, there were only around 8 pages that seemed to be saved from that time period. So it's totally possible users discussed the film, but the posts were lost in time. Some of the other web pages on the site were interesting to look at, but none would be helpful. Just stale leads like a few Locomotion decommissioned email addresses. So as far as we know right now, the old Locomotion website wouldn't be of any use. Looking at the Locomotion wiki page, there is a plethora of information. Notably, one of the sources brings us to an old article, which explained that Rodrigo Pezle and Walter Zamora were both general managers of Locomotion TV at the time Butcher's Hook supposedly aired, so I looked them up. I was able to find both of them on LinkedIn, but there was only one problem. I needed LinkedIn Premium to message them without connecting with them first. I did the unthinkable and bought LinkedIn Premium, but don't worry, I canceled it immediately after. It took a while, but Rodrigo would respond to my message.
Hello there, had a look at the short, but don't remember it. It's also not listed on the Locomotion Wikipedia. Sorry, but can't confirm if it aired in Locomotion. If it did before '99, I would know because it would have aired before my time. By looking at it, it doesn't ring a bell. Best, R.
Since the general manager of Locomotion himself had no idea what this film even was, we need to take a step back. It's possible that Butcher's Hook never played on Locotomia and instead was featured on another channel. Because of this, it's probably better to look into the film itself instead. Again, the director of the film was Simon Pezle, a British filmmaker who also has some other unsettling films that he created as well. A majority of his work seems experimental, with vastly unique ideas, many of which are bone-chilling. Simon Pezle won the British Animation Award for his work on Butcher's Hook. Along with this, it seemed to be one of the most notable films he's made, so if anyone knew more information about it, it would have to be Simon. Simon is difficult to get a hold of. Dead User had tried in the past, but was only able to get in contact with his son. After some deep searching on the internet, I was able to find his contact information and send him an email. Surprisingly, within a few days, Simon responded.
Dear Pezle, I'm not aware of a screening on Locomotion TV, but the film was licensed to Channel 4 at the time, and I'm not aware of all the TV sales they made. Can I ask why you want to know this? Best, Simon.
According to Simon, it looks like the key to this whole mystery might lie with Channel 4 television, a broadcast Goliath in the UK. On the Channel 4 website, they displayed various phone numbers to speak with agents. I decided to call pretty much all of them, but they all said one thing: to submit a form on their website and wait and see what they say. So that's what I did. I sent in the form and waited for a response. Yeah, I waited a really long time, but they did get back to me. They sent me a long email and pretty much said that they didn't have any archived information to share, but they did say one interesting thing that would lead us to the next leg of our journey. They advised that the film was produced by Connex Studios, which would most likely have more information for us. Unfortunately, much like Locomotion, Connex Studios doesn't have much information online, although I was able to find the creators of the studios, which were two men called the Quay brothers, or better known as Brothers Quay. They have produced a multitude of different stop-action films, many of which are a bit spooky to say the least. Both members of Brother Quay are difficult to get a hold of. I tried calling the numbers that I found on an old website, but they both were disconnected. I tried sending them emails, even contacting their fan Instagram page, but no luck. However, after finding an old blog post interviewing them in 2006, I was able to get into contact with the person who made the post, who is still active on Twitter to this day. She checked her email archives and gave me an email to someone who works at Zygast Films, who had connections to Brothers Quay, and miraculously, when I sent the email, she got back to me, and it only took a few hours. So I sent Keith an email, and luckily again, got a response. Apparently, he had more of a stake in Connex Studios than the Quay brothers themselves. But more importantly, he was actually a co-producer of Butcher's Hook. This is what he said.
Did you ask him who was distributing or selling the film now? To be honest, I don't know, but they must be your trail start. I presume you have asked the British Film Institute? Best of luck. K.
Unfortunate. Keith wouldn't know anything about where Butcher's Hook was aired either. The British Film Institute, which he suggested, had some interesting information, but once again, it wouldn't answer our question. At this point, we've asked the director, the distributor, and the production company, all of whom keep pointing fingers at each other, keeping us in this loop that wouldn't get us anywhere. None of them really seemed to have any information that would point us in the right direction to someone who actually knew where the film was aired. And to be fair, who would remember the specifics of where the film was aired? At this point, any distribution deal would have happened more than 20 years ago. Because of this, any record of it might be lost in time. I even posted to various Brazilian subreddits in hopes that someone would know something, or if one user maybe remembered seeing it years ago on TV. But again, nothing. At this point, most of the sources we took a look at were exhausted, and there was not much else to do. Throughout our journey, we reached out to the main people who worked on Butcher's Hook, many of the people who worked at Locomotion, Brazilian subreddits, and even Channel 4. I'm not one to give up easily, but maybe the story of the Butcher was never meant to be fully solved. But that being said, I believe that Dead User was telling the truth in his post, and did initially see some strange short film back in the early 2000s in Brazil. On top of this, I do believe Butcher's Hook is the film that he saw back then. Also, from what I've seen scouring the web and looking through Locotomia films, I'd say Butcher's Hook is just creepy enough to fit right in with the others. But who knows? It's totally possible that the film Dead User saw could still be out there, just waiting to be found. I hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time.